Hello, fellow adventurers. Welcome back to this week's episode. We are happy to announce that after a few weeks away from our main campaign, we are finally ready to pick up, back where we left off. I know you've all been concerned about the well-being of our motley crew, but don't worry, your wait is nearly over. It's been a busy week for us, with lots of you lovely people reaching out to share your thoughts and feelings about the podcast. In particular, Cartographer's Cantrip on Twitter, thank you for sharing just how disturbed you were about Carlos the Halfling in last week's one-shot being described as being so hairy that he looked like someone had shaved an Ewok's face. As ever, we're always happy to hear your feedback and your disgust. Feel free to reach out to us on Twitter at AdventurersANO1. That's at AdventurersANO1. Why not ping us a message or feel free to jump into our DMs and let us know what's on your mind. In other news, it's also been brought to our attention that other people have produced D&D podcasts under the name Adventurers Anonymous in years gone by. So, if you're tuning in and confused by where all your beloved characters have gone from those campaigns, all I can say is they're dead. Oh yeah, they're dead. And let that be a lesson to us all about the dangers of sharing dice. Such a shame. Rest in peace, guys. But let's be honest, you've not come here to listen to me prattle on, so let's get straight to the good stuff. So grab a drink, settle down, and join us for this week's episode. Enjoy! Last we left off with our intrepid adventurers, they'd just successfully rescued the kidnapped elfin ranger, Theolian, from the grips of the Tabaxi raiders. Heading back to the hovel of Brannigan the Brown, they had discovered that they had inadvertently brought back with them a feral land shark. Rather than attempting to placate the huge beast, Aristobulus announced that if he couldn't tame it, or fuck it, then he should probably just kill it. And promptly shot it in the face with a crossbow. The furious beast immediately attacked the group, doing some serious damage. The brunt of this was taken by Belsiar, who was nearly torn in two by the creature's mighty maw. Rushing out of his hovel, Brannigan the Brown insisted the group stopped this nonsense at once and showed that the beast was in fact nothing but a shape-shifting druid tiefling. Returned to her natural form, the tiefling, called Maud of the Nightmare Clan, claimed to know nothing of how she had become trapped in the form of the land shark and believed herself to be possibly under some sort of curse. Armed with new information about the whereabouts of one of the Orbs of Tartarus, the group set off to the old observatory. Brannigan stated that he had absolutely no intention of housing the stray tiefling and insisted that the adventurers take her with them. Friends new and old set off through the ruins on their way to the old observatory, and that is where we will pick up today's adventure. Ruins and blocks of stone overgrown with vines, the occasional shrub and tree and small coppices of tree. As you walk around, you see the local wildlife, not particularly used to people, slinks around and birds fly off from the trees. Over to you.
Saucy, let's get weird.
Strong stuff.
I look around. I think, where am I? I've been walking, and I have no idea where I am.
Yeah, have we just set off from Brannigan's then?
You have indeed. Just for a bit of context, as you set off from Brannigan's and you make your way through the ruins, as you look around, what you see is the ramshackle remains of an elfin city that clearly hasn't been lived in at least 100 years. There are domesticated hovel of Brannigan the Brown where there were hedgerows and gardens. Despite the fact you murdered his gardener, he still has a garden. And you go more into the feral wilderness of the ruins of Melasmere. As you make your way through the stone ruins of buildings, you use the map given to you by Brannigan the Brown to direct yourselves towards the iconic structure, which is the ruins of the old observatory.
Which one was it the top left, the sparkly one, or was it the bit in the middle, the old observatory?
It is the one in the bottom middle. It's almost dead middle. If you see a statue right in the middle of the map of a woman on a horse, you go down, it's the one that almost has the Starship Enterprise on the bottom left-hand corner of the building. Yeah. That's a nice little thing for Matt there. There's one with a disc shape in the corner of the building.
Cool.
All right, yeah.
As you walk along, Aristobulus goes to wipe the sweat off his brow, reaches into his pocket for a handkerchief and pulls out a crumpled note and says, "Oh, what's this?" Fucking unfolding it, he reads it, and it has a little note from Brannigan the Brown that says, "As your gang has a penchant for murdering everyone and leaving a swathe of dead bodies behind them, I've gifted you with a magical shovel. The shovel is not what it seems." He looks at the note for a while, says, "Oh, what the fuck's that supposed to mean?" Looks at the shovel, holds it in his arm, feels a weird energy travelling through his arm, and then picks up the note and wipes his sweaty brow with it, smearing the ink, putting it back in his pocket.
I can't wait for Lewis to figure out what that shovel does and actually start using it.
You mean not use it for like seven rounds?
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to start heading in the direction of the observatory. What time of day is it now?
Pretty early on. You kicked out of Brannigan the Browns just after daybreak. You had a hearty stew, and cause that's all he knows how to cook as a bachelor. And it's probably more like 9 a.m., something like that.
Perfect. Well, I've got some moonshine from Port de Marly in my pack, and it's been a little while since I've had a morning drink. And like you said, we have just had some hearty stew, so I'm going to have a quick little morning drink. I'm going to pass it around the group, see if anyone else wants some.
I'll have a breakfast aperitif.
Aperitif.
Are there any abandoned inns or taverns in this place that might have like casks of very mature beer?
Make me a investigation check. If you're looking specifically for that, you will have to investigate. Yeah.
5.
Looking around, you don't really see a great deal. Nothing. The buildings are smashed up beyond belief. Most of them barely resemble buildings. Mostly the shells of what was once the building. Any wooden parts of the building have long since rotted away. There are a few things with a few very flimsy-looking wooden structures, and you see the remnants of possibly what could have been barrels at some point, but certainly there was nothing. They've now got grass seed and undergrowth growing out of the barrels, so probably nothing that's worth drinking.
So he only finds a Wetherspoons.
Yes. As you look over, you start drinking, you look over at Theolian, who's just shaking his head at you as he says, "It's not like we're on an important quest or anything. Day drinking, little man? Really?
What could be more important than finding the local tavern, even if it has been derelict for however many years?"
I don't know. You know, finding the other orbs, regenerating the wood.
I mean, they've also been lost for many years. I mean, what's another 24 to 48 hours?
And day drinking is the most important quest there is.
With a winning attitude like that, I'm sure that we will have no problems completing this quest. Wonderful.
I mean, you're saying something nice, but you're saying it in a very sarcastic way.
Do I look like a man who has an emotional range?
Yes.
I like you.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to head in the direction of the observatory.
Okay. As you make your way through the undergrowth, you travel on, you leaving the cultivated grounds of Brannigan the Brown behind you, more into the, I wouldn't call it wilderness, but more of the kind of wild ruin. And as you go along, Theolian comes alongside the Tiefling, and almost with a sense of distrust, not really knowing much about you, starts asking you a few questions about how you came to be and who you are.
Am I still quite disorientated, being that I've been shot in the face like 4 times, stabbed a few times, someone's trying to murder me, and then someone's trying to pet me? Am I quite distrustful?
Yeah, you're
quite distrustful.
You're quite distrustful, and as the elfin ranger pulls alongside you, he sort of quizzes you and asks you what you remember.
I think I start hissing and puff myself up like a big cat. I look towards Lady and say to Lady that I feel uncomfortable.
You've already established that you can communicate with Lady as part of your druid powers. As Lady slinks alongside you, looks up at you and gives you a knowing look and rubs her snout, muzzle. I know all the parts of a dog, clearly. Rubs her muzzle along your leg in a kind of accepting kind of way. Still that look of guilt in Lady's eye, hanging over from your last conversation.
So Lady and I continue walking, but we're hanging back a little bit. And we're like firm friends. We're just chatting over the day, but she knows that I'm not that comfortable, and that I'm quite mistrustful of the group.
Okay. The two of you chat away, Theolian breaking away, clearly not having got a great deal of information out of you, or not as much as he would have hoped. You press through some scrubland and you come out, and in front of you, about 250 meters in front of you, you see the large ruins of the observatory, which stand out in stark contrast to the rest of the ruins, as there's still quite a lot left of the observatory. At least 7 floors. What do you guys do?
Is it quite open?
Yes, there's a degree of open scrub in front of it. The trees stop. There's a degree of kind of open scrub, a few boulders, shingle. And then as you come to look at the observatory, it's on 2 floors. It's in pretty good nick, to be fair. At least 3 out of the 4 walls are intact. It has a second floor with a round top floor with the rather dishevelled remains of the telescope sticking out the top of it. Ooh. It's still about 250 metres away.
Is that at the top of the second floor, did you say? Is there a intact entranceway? I would imagine if it's like a tower, there'd be like stairs going up a little bit towards it.
From the angle you're approaching it, you see a flat wall. You see to the right-hand side, it's starting to crumble a little bit.
Are there like are there any like gaps in the wall that say a small animal could get through?
There are where there are the holes in the wall where window frames clearly used to be, but the wood has rotted out. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can't just walk through. There's no doors. There's barely any walls. We can just walk in.
250 meters, you can see. You're not able to get too good a gauge, but you notice that it's in particularly good nick, as in better nick than anything else in these ruins that you've seen thus far. It's still, it looks like a derelict building. The walls are still there. It's not going to fall over if you lean on it, but you wouldn't want to live in it.
Can I do a perception check to see if there's like anything around that, like any like nasty creatures that I can kind of see anywhere?
Yeah.
16.
16. The best you see a pack of wild dogs skittering around on the left-hand side. They're picking at the body of some kind of fallen creature. They're fighting that thing where 2 of them grab a haunch of meat and wrestle it off each other.
I say to the Tiefling, I think some of your friends are over there.
God damn.
I don't trust the Tiefling yet.
Can I hit him very hard with my tail and knock him off his feet?
Yeah, make me an unarmed strike.
A 9. A 10.
A 9. Oh, a 10. Despite the fact that you pull your punch with your tail, knowing that you're not really trying to hurt him as you've only just met these people, you go for a swing, but at the last minute change your mind about how much force you're going to put in as Hanash grabs the end of your tail and flings it to one side.
I just kind of go for the blunderbuss. And I don't go for it, but I put my hand over to it and I'm like, just give it like a look and like slowly put my hand away. Like, don't you fuck with me.
We'll commit man. As you're all messing around, Theolian lays his hand on Hanash's shoulder and says, "Quiet." And he almost lowers himself to the ground as he listens. He looks over to the dogs first, who are still skittering and playing, looks over to the ruins for a moment, looks back to the dogs, looks at the group, pans his head around. At this point, Tatty, can you make me a dexterity saving throw?
Jesus Christ, man. 21.
Woof.
You hear a whistling noise, ducking at the last minute. Something flies past the end of your nose. You hear it skitter off into the grass.
When it hits the ground, do I see what it is? An arrow?
It falls off into the distance. You just hear it vanish into the scrubland. You have no idea. You don't know particularly which direction. You get a sense that it came somewhere from the left, but beyond that, you couldn't pick out the source of it. Theolian looks down and says, "We are not alone. Be careful."
I say, "No shit, Sherlock," and I say, "Get to cover!"
As Aristobulus, still looking at his shovels, like, "Oh, for fuck's sake," and just throws himself on the ground, like with the shovel on top of him.
Can we run into the observatory?
Sure. If you want to close the ground to the observatory, you can do that in a flat run.
Yeah.
If you wish to do that, can each of you make me... In fact, no. You do that. Is that what you want to do as a group? You want to try and take cover in the observatory, do you?
Yeah, I didn't realise that we were. I didn't realise we were that close. To be honest, I guess the best way would be to head for the observatory then.
Okay.
I'm gonna scale around. So I'm gonna go to the observatory, but I'm gonna like detour and kind of go a bit stealthier, like around the buildings. Oh, where are we on the map? Are we like at the bottom left, like near that kind of green?
Yeah. Is there like a hedge or a ditch I can just jump into? It's closer than the observatory.
What, so rather than running with the rest of them, you want to take a nosedive into a ditch?
I will just want to run to whatever the closest cover is. If that is the observatory, that's fine.
Yeah. At the moment, as you're in open scrubland, is the best you're going to find. Right. So as you all roll forward, can each of you make me a dexterity saving throw?
Oh, natural one.
Tres.
14.
I got a 14.
14, nice. What did you get, Matt?
14.
14. Oh, yeah, bloody hell. Aristobulus. Yeah, Aristobulus got 19. Oof, Theolian got a 20, doing like a John Woo dive. So as you run forward, you see a hail of arrows very rapidly coming towards you. The Tiefling ducking out the way. Aristobulus twatting an arrow out of the air with his spade. Theolian sort of just lithely moving his body, and the Dragonborn throwing himself into a ditch at the last minute as an arrow goes whistling over his head. Both the gnome receiving 1 point of damage, Hanash, as it grazes you, oof, and 1 point of damage, Hattie. Both of you just a little nick as it snips past you. All of you arriving at the ruins, panting, sweaty, as the Dragonborn, last of all, who was in a ditch, gets up and runs as everyone's like, "Come on!" As Aristobulus is like waving you forward with a shovel.
Ramsay Bolton's just there waiting for him.
Right. As you all make it into cover, the arrows stop.
I'm gonna get down. I'm gonna get down in some kind of cover outside the observatory, and I'm gonna see if I can do a quick scan of the area around us to see if I can see where the arrows came from.
Absolutely. Make me a perception check with disadvantage, please.
Okay.
And the half-orc both take an arrow.
8.
You know roughly the sort of area of woodland that the arrows came from as you ran. You know that it was off far to the left, but you can't pick anything out of this range. You can't see anyone. You can't see a group of people. You notice that in all the excitement, the dogs have run off and skittered away, dragging whatever haunch of meat they had. As you make it now to the edge of the observatory, you notice that on one corner where you are at the observatory, the walls at the corner have crumbled in, and there's an entrance into the ground floor of the observatory, which is quite a gaunt and dark, sort of uninviting kind of place. But there's a definite entrance to the ground floor through the crumbled down.
Boom! I jump in.
What time of day is it? Is it getting towards evening? Do we need a...
No, you've not been travelling that long. 10 a.m., something like
that. Okay. Is there anyone or anything suspicious about? Are there any animals hanging about?
Other than the dogs you
Anything
saw,
that's going to eat us.
what's that, sorry?
Anything that's going to eat us.
And nothing you can see. Absolutely nothing. I mean, you're only just standing in the gloom at the front of the ground floor of the observatory, but you've seen nothing other than getting hailed with arrows. You've not seen, I mean, even the dogs were not really, they weren't angry. They were just fighting over a haunch of meat. They were just a wild pack of dogs. They weren't like feral or violent or anything, and they've pissed off somewhere. So at this point, the arrows have stopped. Theolian is low to the ground, hiding behind the corner of the building, staring out towards the direction from where the arrows have gone. He turns around and just says, whatever or whomever that is, they appear to have gone for now.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn around to everyone else and kind of like gesture in the direction that Hunarch just ran into the observatory. And I'm just gonna say, go. I'll cover you on my way in case they're still there.
Making your way into the ground floor of the observatory, the rest of you very cautiously move your way in.
Slicing the pie.
You see the whole time Aristobulus holding his shovel, just looking at it in some talismanic kind of way, as though it's going to like turn into like He-Man's sword or, something like that, or the Thundercat sword, but it doesn't in any way change. As he's like, what the hell do you do? And he starts rubbing it with his sleeve, trying to see whether he can excite the shovel into doing something magical. As your eyes, accustomed to the gloom, some of you better than others, the elfin amongst you, and Dragonborn having naturally very good night vision, what you see before you is ruins of rubble on the floor, the remnants of what used to be a cobbled floor, but in not particularly great nick. Off to your right-hand side is a ruined set of barrels, which are completely just mashed up and run, really rotted into a kind of morass. To your left-hand side, the remains of a workbench were long since rotted, still with drawers in it. To the right, I've actually got a map I'll share with you. To the right, you see a broken down statue, barely recognizable as most of the features have fallen off it. They're crumbled on the floor. And right at the back, a set of circular stairs heading up round to the right.
Can I go rifling through the drawers and see whether there's anything interesting?
Yeah, you certainly can. First
Fine.
of all, let me quickly share with you the map. It's not really for battling in per se, but it may at least give you guys some context of
Battle wherever.
It's not for battling in. How about that? Now, ignore the things around it are like low shrubs. They're not like that. All right?
I dropped a nut on the class.
It's not perfectly to scale, but it gives you an idea of the kind of shite that's in this building.
Uh-huh.
And by shite, I mean very strongly created artistic buildings that I spent ages painstakingly creating.
In 4K.
Mm.
It is.
Got to do the zoom check to make sure.
Right. So, Maud.
Yeah.
You wish to go over to the desk.
Yeah.
On the left-hand side, what you see in front of you is possibly what used to be like a scientific academic work desk a long time ago. Is almost very rotted. I mean, if you couldn't sustain you leaning on it, but it does have drawers in it, and it has a few scraps of paper.
Can I read what's written on the paper?
What languages do you speak?
I'm very clever.
That's always the first sign of very clever people. They always tell you they're very clever.
It's under features and traits.
It's on the left-hand side, under armor, weapons, and tools, under proficiencies and languages.
Abysmal, common, druidic, elvish, and infernal.
Elvish, right, good. Yeah. Also, it's abyssal, not abysmal. Abysmal would mean you're absolutely shit at reading.
It's like a grade of common. It's like you speak common, but in a Barnsley accent.
Oh, yeah.
There we are.
Things that you horrific.
As you go over to the desk, you look at it and it's all like manged up. As you pick up a scroll of paper, it almost starts flaking away in your hands. As you start reading it, you see that it's diagrams of star maps, like astrological points and stuff, as it slowly just starts crumbling between your fingers. It's very old and in very bad nick.
Okay.
Can I investigate around the barrels?
Absolutely. Yeah. As you go over to the barrels, make me an investigation check.
17.
17. As you start pulling away and scraping away at the barrels, you take out the tip of your weapon and start shoveling away at it. As you start just running away at it, you see a flask of some kind, like a canteen of food. And as you go down to reach it, you realize you've disturbed a rat's nest. As a family of rats start skittering out towards you defensively.
I say, Belshaw, I think I found your new family. Is this a fight, or are they just like scurrying off and they're like a little bit peeved?
They're not. They're not big enough to. They're just scurrying.
I can just leave them. They're not going to try and like bite me or anything.
Okay, bye.
You see them skitter off into darkness at the back as you reach down and you pick up a random flask, still with the stopper in, like a canteen.
Could I have a look in the Chanel? Did you say that you checked the drawers of the desk?
There's nothing but a map.
Oh, okay.
I shed a single tear.
You didn't check the drawers. You looked on top.
Oh, I asked you to check the drawers.
God damn it! This game is you're making a mockery. Maybe an investigation check. Surprised Chris hasn't tried to drink the contents of the mystery canteen.
I've been thinking about it, but knowing like about the other canteen, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't open this right away. Maybe I shouldn't. I'm still think 90% I'm going to drink it, but for now.
Hey, AJ's already said this isn't a place for fighting.
No, it's true.
I'd like to scream and throw it against the wall.
Make me maybe a performance check.
A 13.
13. As it looks up at you, you look down at it, and its 8 eyes look at you. You swat it against the wall. It blats against the wall, falls down, and you crush it under your tiefling boot. As you hear it crunch and squelch underneath your boot, looking down into the drawer, you see a preserved piece of paper in a scroll, which seems to be in slightly better condition as it's been inside a drawer. It's inside a leather tube.
Can I open the tube and read it?
As you open the tube and roll it out, you see an old map, which I will share with you.
I take a moment to admire the fine craftsmanship of the map.
Yes, and amazingly, you get more XP than anyone else. Just magically, your XP goes up. Right, you see the map, Maud, which you can tell has in a semblance of the local area on it, but hard to discern. But yeah, definitely, if you look closely, has a path marked to a certain location on it.
So I've established that Tatty is probably, he looks like a ranger, he looks like he knows what he's doing, you know, he's got the scars of like an ex-SAS and he walks with swagger. So I take the map over to Tatty and I kind of like nudge him, kick him a bit and show him the map in a friendly way, just kind of to get your attention. And I show him the map and kind of hint that I want him to take a look at it.
Okay. Can I look at this alongside the map that we got from Brannigan and see if I can figure out where the X is leading us to?
Make me an investigation check. As And I will say with advantage because you're a tracker.
Okay. While I'm doing this, I'm gonna turn to Maud and say, "This is a good find," and I'm gonna offer her a drink from the moonshine flask.
Oh, Maud, I accept readily and drink 3/4 of it. It's been a long time since I've fallen out of the Weatherspoons. I've been a shark for a long time, a land shark for at least 100 years. They're not allowed to drink. It's against their religion.
I say, yeah. I mean, like that sounds fucking stressful, man. I got an 18.
18. So as you look at it, and from your knowledge of the map and from the knowledge of that map and holding the two together, you work out that it's probably a map of the Boreal Omen River leading into the Ivory Lake, which of course you're writing now. And from your memory as well, that was also roughly the area that Theolian had told you that Skull had last been seen, heading in that direction. Whether the two are in any way connected is not for anybody to say, but it's certainly two things that are in roughly the same area of the world. If you had to guess, you would imagine that lake at the top looks a bit like the Ivory Lake, which is off to the east of the Savalier Woods, on the edge of the Rhine Plains.
Yeah.
Not particularly knowing exactly where that X is, but if you had to look at the pattern of the river and you had to look at the pattern of the lake and the mountains, you would guess that it's the edge of the Ivory Lake on the northernmost slope.
I'm gonna share this with the rest of the group, but I'm not gonna share why it interests me.
Fair enough. As you do that, both Chris's, can you make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
It's just because we're called Chris.
Yes, I'm a Chrisist.
Just general.
Constitution saving throw, but that's not my specialty.
Because of a mage.
I got a 13.
I got a 3. Unless it's against a mage, and then we'll talk.
I was going to say, I have advantage on... Oh, no, not Constitution saving throws. I have advantage on a lot of stuff against magic.
Nice. Hanash, you take 3 points of damage. Tati, you take 2 points of damage. Both of you, independently of each other, suddenly get, as you hand the map back to Maud, Tati, you suddenly get dizzy, slightly nauseous. The world, the ground beneath you starts to spin. As you take 2 points of damage, you feel a real kind of like wobbliness in your legs. As you look down at the nick that you took on your arm from the arrow. Same with you, Hanash. You're a big guy. Your center of balance is without question. But even you can feel the greasiness of the breakfast in your stomach, of the stew, starting to climb up the back of your throat. Looking down at the nick on your thigh from the arrow, ask some questions.
Can I catch Tati before he hits the floor?
Rushing in. Maud goes to grab
before he hits the floor.
as you all look over and just watch Hanash fall over and no one gives a shit.
Yeah,
I rush my dear half-orc friend.
He's like, listen, mate, there's no time for fucking about, all right? But if you do want a proper fuck about, I will get my loot out.
I want to fuck about.
You look around as he puts the shovel back on the strap behind him, pulls his loot out as a grasping hand with a leather glove grabs him as Theolian says, now is not the time for a proper fuck about. Now is the time for investigating what the fuck is going on before we all get murdered by poisonous arrows.
I've got like a poison potion, haven't I?
Yeah.
I think we got some potions from something.
Yes, you won it in Dagny Skankchest, or whatever her name was. You fought a pit fighter, and your reward was a potion of...
Yeah, I've got like an antitoxin, so I'm going to drink that.
Oh, nailing that back, you feel the elixir running down you as you basically chug it in one. As everyone looks down, as you just watch the green fluid just slowly coming out of the vial, as you feel your stomach settle, a bit like a kind of cooling antacid. You kind of feel the frothiness and the bubbliness and all the gripe in your stomach settle, and your knees start to feel firmer again. Looking over at your friend, the little gnome, who's currently in the arms of a giant tiefling, you notice he's gone particularly pale and sweaty.
So I've got 4 of these. So I'm gonna feed it to him like an Indiana Jones does to his papa. Oh no! On your chest.
It's more
Okay.
paper rope.
Can you mark off 2 of those then? You've got 2 left, yeah?
Yeah.
Feeding it to the little gnome, you unstopper it, you pull off the cork in your mouth, spit it out and pour it down the gnome's mouth. The gnome, however, not quite a talented drinker as yourself. You see some of it start flowing out of his mouth and spilling off the side. As Tatty, you also feel it burning a course down your throat, as you can feel it go into action almost instantly, just settling the fever that was starting to come across you. Feeling your legs firm up a bit, you look over at Maud, straighten her creepy bright yellow eyes and nod.
Is she holding me in her arms?
Yes, like a swaddling babe.
Yeah. I'm just gonna, as I'm getting to my feet, I'm just gonna like dust myself off a bit and just go, "Oh, you big flirt," and then I'm gonna pull out my moonshine and take a sip to wash down the antitoxin.
The best medicine, they follow up with an afterchaser of moonshine.
I like your style. I'm going to open the flask that I just found and take a swig. Oh, I'm going to open it, have a smell of it first, and then I'm going to think if I should take a swig.
Make me a perception check.
Okay.
Please get a 1. Please get a 1. Please get a 1. Please get a 1.
I think an enclosed space is the best time to open something random. So what am I making again, sorry?
Perception.
16.
As you open it up, you peer a nose to it, and as you back off, like just tears start flooding down your face. A lot of strong vapor coming off that. Whatever the hell it is very pungent.
I put the cork back in.
Yeah.
Maybe one for another day.
I tell everyone I got something fun for later.
Have you ever eyeballed paraffin or pure paraffin or something like that? Just the vapors. As soon as you open it, it starts evaporating and fumes just go up into your face, and you're like, potent. As you're like, put the lid back on.
Nice. I'm glad I smelt it before I just went straight in.
So just uncorks a third poison. Okay, I've got these to burn. Right, what are you guys doing? As you look around, Aristobulus is picking up bits of dirt of decayed barrel with his shovel and just shoveling them to one side. Oh, come on, this fucking thing's got to be good for something, isn't it? Shovel cadabra. It's got to have a keyword, isn't it?
Can we see everything on the map?
Yes.
Sorry, you were saying, Matt?
Can I stick my head up the stairs very cautiously?
Absolutely, yeah. So as you creak up the stairs very cautiously, the stairs are made of stone as they go up, so you're okay. You don't have to worry about them collapsing underneath you. As you go up to the floor above, you just stick your head over the lip, you look around, you see there's a scant wooden floor that you could see at the ceiling of the floor below. It looks somewhat sturdy, a little bit rotten. Pressing your ear to the floor, you listen, but you can't hear anything up there. It's quiet.
Okay, I'll continue upstairs and
as you individually make your way upstairs, you As you come out onto the boards of the floor, you look out, and it's again a little bit the same floor plan almost as the floor below, except this one stops where the wall went back. It's got a curved front to it. And see, in front of you, as you look on the stairs, you see on the floor a load of astrological, almost like mosaic, the beginnings of or the remnants of a telescope. And to the left and right, the remnants of two contraptions. Contraptions like cogwork machinery seem to be in quite bad state of disrepair. Investigation check.
19.
19?
Yeah.
You can see you once again managed to establish the kind of row of trees where you thought the arrows might have been coming from. And as you stand there for 5 minutes, you let your eyesight acclimatize, looking for any movement as you slow yourself down, see whether you can see any movement. But there's nothing that you can see. As you look over to the right, the pack of animals have come back to pick at the carcass that they were picking meat off earlier. Basically, whatever has disturbed them has seemingly left for the moment.
I shout downstairs and just say, I think we're good now.
Have we all made our way upstairs at this point?
Not yet. You can do if you wish.
Yeah.
Can I turn myself into one of the dogs downstairs, a similar type? And can I go downstairs and can I ask the dogs what they know about the situation? What's going on? What's going on?
I knew it, friends. I knew it.
Okay. And as you all, you're going to have to burn a spell slot to do that, but go for it. Okay. As you look over at the tiefling, she kind of, her form melts and you see a kind of crumple of her body as she turns into oldness as it's been picked at. You'd imagine the body is a couple of days old.
Can I very submissively go up to the alpha and kind of hang down really low so that he knows that I'm not a threat? Ask about the situation, ask whether there are any predators and who's shooting the arrows.
Right. Well, first of all, make me a persuasion check. Everyone's on tenterhooks. As you come in, the dogs, you see the two dogs pan out to the side, the alpha dog in the middle, guarded, the alpha dog not in any way giving up ground on the corpse, which is obviously his dinner. As you come in, being a druid and knowing how beasts act, you lower yourself into a subservient kind of manner as the other dogs, establishing that you're not a threat to them, blink off. As you come towards them, you use your abilities to communicate with other beasts that you have to talk to the wolves. As in their best West Country accent, they establish they're like, all right, I've not noticed you round here before. What brings you here, fine lady? Now they're Dickensian or something. Cool.
I tell them that I have come from a long way away and I'm travelling through, but I wanted to know who was firing the arrows and that my friends and I are not a threat to them.
They sniff at you as the alpha comes towards you. You can see one of his eyes is missing from a fight as he sniffs at you as he's like... I recognise you, but you don't seem to be a threat. Not seen you around here. You're not going to steal my meat, are you?
I tell him that I'm a vegetarian, a reformed wolf.
Not one of those. All right. Well.
And I reiterate that my friends and I aren't here to intrude in any way, and I just want to know who was firing the arrows.
Well, look, as long as you guarantee that you're not here to steal my meat, I will leave your friends alone. Me and Molly and Minx here, these are my wives. We don't give a shit. So you leave us alone, we'll leave you alone, all right? But yeah, I tell you what, there was a man standing over there, and you know what? He smelled a bit weird. Can't smell him anymore.
And he define weird? Did he smell a weed? Like, was he off his tits on weed? Like, define weird?
Fuck me, you ask a lot of questions for a lady you just rocked up. Jesus Christ, what the fuck do you think this is? Like, what's in it for me?
I am extremely charming, and I scored a 20 on my persuasion check, so...
I mean, unless you fancy a tumble with Molly and Minx, you know, we're in a very polyamorous, open relationship.
I suddenly turn back into a tiefling and run away.
Whereas Hunus' ears like prick, I'm like, who that?
As you turn back into a tiefling and run away, the one-eyed dog looks over at Molly and Minx and is like, always fucking happens. Do you know how many times I've missed out on a good bit of strumpet? Fucking shapeshifters. Got to be so careful these days. You no idea what you can pick up from a shapeshifter. Carry on.
Yes, it's the age of Me Too, meet D&D.
Yes. As you skitter off, leaving the pack of dogs yelping behind you, you go back to the adventurers without problem.
Okay.
Can I go upstairs and find Hanash and Tatty and tell them that the person who was shooting the arrows has definitely left, and that the wolves say that we're safe and that they won't hurt us.
I mean, either way we upgraded them to wolves, they were just dirty mongrel dogs.
Okay.
Wolves are like here, dirty mongrel dogs are like here. Lady is like all the way up here.
I look to Lady to see if she's taking offence by this phrasing.
Lady's looking in absolute horror at the tiefling. Still getting over the religious grief from last episode. She's just seen her new friend turn into her own species and back again. Lady's just got that kind of absolute fear in her eyes that she's like...
Yeah, when Maud turned into a dog and ran off, I leaned down to Lady and just kind of like try and walk her through this existential crisis. Everything's fine. She's still your friend, but you know she just changes every now and again.
Make me an animal handling check.
That's how we die.
I'm going to piss it while this happens, just so like I've done all the functions.
Nice. As all this is going on, wait a minute, Chris. As all this is going on, Hanash walks over to the corner, unzips himself, pulls himself out of his jerkin, and starts taking a piss in the corner, pissing on a spider's web. He plays a game, chasing the spider around the web with his own trail of piss, until he finally pinks the spider, zips himself up, and comes back to the group.
That whole thing took an hour because I've not pissed in... I've not pissed in a year. So it's just like, oh, you're right.
All that booze from Port de Marley. It's all coming out at the same time.
Chris, can you make me a prostate check? Sorry, Tatty, what did you get?
14.
14, yeah. You hold Lady close. She's sploofed up, and she's all kind of floofy. She's a bit scared. She's a bit shaky, but you hold her close and you stroke her muzzle. She's the only part of a dog I know, apparently. And she calms down a little bit. As Lady's confused as to the rules of life. This is the first time she's ever seen a human or a humanoid shift into her own shape and back again. Maud, you are aware of the, not distress, but the wolf is clearly a bit frazzled from having seen that.
Okay. Can I go over and can I explain to her that everything's okay, and that I needed to take the form of a dog so that I could keep everybody safe.
Lady looks at you. She's like, "What manner of God are you, you fucking weirdo? I trusted you. My voice has got a lot more grisly than last week. What manner of weird fuck are you? You were my friend."
And now I don't know.
Can't believe my wolf sounds like Ray Winston. This is so fucked up.
As I went up there first, can I quickly look for anything particularly valuable before anyone else comes up?
Are you asking, did you hawk anything valuable as you got up there first? Did you just notice that it looked...
Yeah, basically.
Okay, what are you... Okay, so as you get up there, you got up there first, yeah? Behind you are two bookshelves. In front of you are two intricate-looking machines, slightly disheveled to the left and right, a bit shiny. To the far left-hand side, there's a trapdoor that goes all the way through to the floor below, through the ceiling. Don't know why I'm explaining what a trapdoor is to you. That's kind of condescending. And then in front of you, you see a astrological map, almost like a sextant on the floor with movable parts on it. And what you can't see on the map, because I couldn't fucking find one, is a telescope sticking out at an odd angle through that front cove.
Can I check the bookcase on the right?
So are you just making a random investigation? See what you can see?
Yeah, I'm just looking for something to grab before. I never get any loot. Everyone always gets something.
That's fine. Everyone else seems to have been interested talking to the Tiefling about her dances with wolves. See what I did there? Everyone, Tati's busy fussing lady. Theolian's busy talking to Aristobulus about his shovel. Aristobulus seems to be waxing lyrical, and Theolian is desperately trying to back out of the conversation, but can't. And lady is hiding behind Tati. Whereas you're upstairs looking through bookshelves. Make me an investigation check.
That's an 8 plus 2, 10.
10. Not really. It's a bit of a rundown bookshelf. You pick up various volumes. As you pick them up, the pages just drop out of them. Various mathematical formulae and various astrological star planes mapped out on sheets of paper just start slinking down to the floor. Various cobwebs. As you move folios, you see spiders skittering around, and the age-old trope of the skull on top of the bookshelf comes sliding down.
I just kick the bookshelf in frustration.
You wallop the bookshelf and it falls to one side, the sides sliding off, the shelves falling down, and that's when you notice the skeletal body with rags on of a person that was to the side of it. Very, very decomposed, to the point where the skin is just like leather over the top of the bones.
Jessica Fletcher leather.
Boner alert.
As you look down at it, you realise that the hand and the hands on both sides appear to be missing.
Is it an elf?
There are what?
Is it elven?
As you racelessly look at the skull, you find it hard to tell whether it has pointy ears, as they appear to have decomposed. As you turn around, you hear Theolian behind you. You look up at him, you look down at the skull, and you look up at him, and you look down at the skull, and you think, I don't know.
Can I examine the machine on the left-hand side as I get up the stairs?
Examine it, yeah, make me an investigation check.
Sure thing. 11. You glance down at it. It's an old copper machine with pipes and gauges in it. As you look in front, you see it has a large opening where a door used to be that's rusted off its hinges and is currently on the floor. As you look in the back, you see something glinting at the very back of it. It looks like it's made of glass. Can I check it for traps before reaching in and trying to see what the glinting thing is?
Yes. You can either make me a performance check or you can make me a survival check. No, sorry, you can either make me an investigation check or a survival check, I don't mind.
Okay. Oh, Jesus Christ. 8.
Right.
I'm going to reach in and grab the glinting thing.
As you reach in and grab the gleaming thing, your fingers wrap around the piece of glass, which you suddenly realize is probably a lens for the telescope.
Yeah.
As you pick it up, you hear a clicking noise as the front of the door slams down, locking both your hands in position.
Cool.
As you wrestle to try and get your hands, even your tiny gnomish hands won't fit out of the machine.
A little doll comes up on a tricycle. You want to play a game?
Never mind you, young girl. I'm stuck.
As Theolian turns up and is like, oh dear, what happened to staying out of trouble? Aristobulus walks in at the side and is like, could I help you with my shovel? He's nuzzling at you, because that's the only word I know about dogs. Lady's nuzzling at your side with a little kind of worried yelp.
In the heat of the moment, I say, it's all right, don't worry, Babs. I'll be out in a minute.
He looks at you with a little kind of like...
I say, so I kind of get the attention of everyone else, and I just kind of say, so I am a little bit stuck. Does someone else want to check out the other machine on the other side?
I look over and like, too many cooks, man.
Can I go over and use my tail to very gently prod the other machine on the other side? Very, very tentatively.
Very tentatively, you prod the machine on the other side and you see there's a door with a latch, much like the other one had, but had fallen off.
Okay, so the latch has fallen off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I very, very gently use my tiny clawy fingers and with one little claw move it so that I can see what's in there.
See now a couple of mechanisms on the side of the machine, a couple of levers.
Okay, so my fingers aren't inside the machine, and I take a look and see whether I think it would be dangerous to push the lever, to pull the lever.
I come over and suggest that we like throw a bit of rope in and try and like pull it without putting our hands in.
Yes, that's a clever move.
I get the rope and then I go away because yeah. If this doesn't work, then I don't want it to be on me. I throw the rope at the Tiefling and give her a wink, and then walk back to Belsia. I'm like, so I was looting for you.
And so much stuff. All the good stuff.
Hanash waddles. Waddles? I don't know why he waddles, because he shit himself. Hanash waddles over. Waddles over to Maud, flings down a rope, and just skitters backwards. Kind of like, not me. Kind of wait.
Okay. So I take the end of the rope and I push it into the machine to see whether it's been trapped.
As you push the rope in, nothing happens.
Is there anything... Can I see... Is there anything inside that would
Maybe
be...
perception check.
Ooh, 21.
You look at it, and from your rudimentary understanding of magic and the arcanum and of all things academic, the only thing you can discern is it appears that one of the cogs is missing. But you do notice two handles to one side, as in crank handles. A blue one and a white one.
Oh.
Right. I'm going to stand as far away as possible from this machine. And I'm going to use Mage Hand to pull the blue handle and see what happens.
All right. You lose your hands.
Wait, are you doing this on the one that I'm stuck in, or the other one?
The other one.
Yeah, I thought so.
No, I'm standing next to you.
Okay, so as you all look around, Maud slings the end of the rope, that's not a euphemism, into the machinery and pulls it out slowly. Sounds filthy, I say. Nothing happens. There's a pregnant pause as everyone looks around. Theolian shrugs his shoulders. Over to one side, you still see Tatty clasped, almost manacled into the machine as he stretches. You see him with both feet up on the machine, dragging himself backwards. Still nothing. Aristobulus walks over and is like, would you like to borrow some of my lube? As he brings out a little warm pot. As Belsiar mumbles a few words, you feel the crackling in the air and the ozone as a spiritual hand appears in midair and pulls the blue lever. There's a momentary pause and a clunk click, and you hear some cogs turning. The one on Tatty's side. So you hear a whirring noise appearing in from the machinery in front of you, Tatty.
Oh dear. I say that. I say, oh dear.
Can I investigate the other? So there's the bookcase, which has been knocked down. I don't know how it happened. It was like that when I get over. But like, there's like another one to the right. Can I investigate that? I want to look for this like gear thing that like we're missing.
Yeah, sure. Make me an investigation check. Go for it.
It's on my way. I pants Tatty, and then I go through it. I got a 15. I got a 15 investigation. I don't know what check I need to do for the pantsing. But.
I mean, as your friend is looking terrified and pale-faced, both of you recently having been poisoned, you think now would be the definite best time to pull down his pants as his hands are grasped inside of it.
I feel
as
like
you do that,
you could use it.
I don't even attempt to squirm away. I lean into it. I press my butt up against his face as I do it.
As you do this, Theolian looks over, shaking his head. He's like, "How the fuck have you people managed to survive this long?" As Aristobulus walks up next to him and just says, "Yeah, it's the way of our people. Don't fight it. Just go with it."
How have you survived NPCs? Is how we've survived.
Method acting. Hanash, you walk up, having freshly pulled down the pants of your comrade. You walk over to the bookshelf with a smug grin on your face. Looking at it, you flick a hand along the folios and tomes that are there. You see nothing particularly out of place. Scanning up and down, you'll look for anything that particularly stands out to you. You see the skeletal remains of a rat, lots of cobwebs, and the shelf is incredibly flimsy. The bookshelf.
The rat. I found it, guys. And then
lifting up the skeletal remains of the rats. The rat, you just hold it in one hand. Tatty looking back over at you with worry on his face.
No, I say, no, I think you got it, man.
I think the poison's still in me, guys.
I don't feel right in my brain.
Tatty, you begin to feel a sharp pain in the front of your hands, at the very tips of your fingers, a screaming, shooting pain rising up through your body, arching all the way up your arms and right up into your body. You take 4 points of damage.
Can I...
Marking down your spine.
Can I? So, as the machine has started turning, can I check the? I don't even know what it is really. The telescope and the map thing in front of us. Has that started like moving visibly in front of us? Okay, cool.
Oh man, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, can I like grab onto it?
Yeah. I shout to Belsiar, maybe try the other lever.
Try the other lever.
Using a spiritual hand, the hand comes back in, grasps the white lever, and as you pull it, there's resistance on it. It won't move.
It won't move.
The hand in my head is like Mickey Mouse's hand, or like Mickey Mouse's glove.
Yeah. It's like a white. It's Michael Jackson's hand in the glove, floating through the air. That's what I'm picturing. Yes. They're both cool.
Do we have to pull up the blue lever to pull down the white one? Can we try that?
Up the blue lever, it will no longer go up. There's a resistance. The white won't come down and the blue won't go up.
Can we offer Tatty to saw his hand off, like 48 hours style? Just like offer him. I've got a dagger. I just kind of offer it to him.
I mean, both my hands are inside it. I say, I'm not there yet. I say we're at hour 1 of 127. So let's maybe.
I just kind of smiled, and I tell him that I've seen a film and I know how it ends, and give him the dagger.
Hold it in my teeth.
Aristobulus walks over and just holds his shovel above your wrists and is like, it's magic, I got this. As he just goes to backswing his shovel at your wrists.
I go, no.
It's magic.
I say no.
Is that a hard no?
That's a hard no. I like my hands.
As his shoulders just go, all right, as he puts the shovel away. He's like, don't worry, shovel. We'll work out what you are one day.
The trap door, is that go directly into the room that we were in, or is it it's not a bit between the rooms?
No, it goes straight down. As you stick your head down, your head and shoulders appear upside down through the ceiling, through the floor below. As you look down, you see everything.
Are the gears turning in the one that Belcher was at?
Any levers on the side of the one that I'm stuck in?
There's the hole where the levers used to be. There is no lever.
Can Belcher use his magic to push the levers inside? Can his magic hand get in there?
Well, I mean, anyone can manipulate the. Hang on, wait, what?
So there's one tatties and you can't get in there because obviously the things come down over his hands. But I wonder if we could put a magic hand inside and do leather stuff.
What does it say about your magic hands? Never thought I'd ask that. What's it called?
Mage hand.
Mage hand. Let's have a look at the rules.
I can't see inside. It would be flapping around.
It would just be another hand attacking my hand.
No, the answer is you can't push your spiritual hand through an object. No, otherwise it wouldn't be able to pick objects up.
No.
Yeah, of course. Okay, yeah.
Can you try the white leather on the other one? Because I think you'll be stronger than the mage hand.
So I'm gonna go and grab the white leather with both hands. I'm gonna put my legs up on it, and I'm gonna use my whole body weight to try and pull it.
Yeah. Make me an athletics check.
15.
15 with your whole weight on it. Scrum down, sweat pouring off your forehead, Hanash, as you've got your 2 feet up on the machine. You start feeling the lever start to bend, but it's not giving in terms of coming down.
I look over to Tatty and it's
once again, you feel a shooting pain running up your fingers as you feel a crunching, scraping noise sensation across the front of your fingers as you take another 4 points of damage.
What are these things made of?
Just
is it metal?
Brass.
Can I go downstairs and see if there's anything on the roof, any pipes or anything?
Sorry, you're going to go downstairs, are you?
I want to see if, because obviously these things are attached to the floor. I want to see if there's anything on the other side of the floor that we can do anything with.
As you go downstairs, you look up and there's no sign of it going through the ceiling on the other side. The machine doesn't go through the floorboards or anything. On the floor below, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm guessing these must be connected somehow because something we did on the other one did something over here, didn't it? Mm-hmm. We pushed leather, so they must be connected somehow. Therefore, I'm looking for something that connects them. And there's nothing on the map, so I thought there'd be something underneath that I can kind of dislodge, or if there's a pipe or something that I can kind of try and...
Make me an investigation check.
15.
You notice that the floorboards, it's not like one layer of wood. There is a certain kind of cavity. It's not crazy cavity, but there is a cavity between the floorboards.
I'm going to come up and I'm going to just, on the one that Tatty's near, like in between, like in like the kind of space to like on the map to the left of it. I'm just going to start like smashing into the floorboards to see if I can like find the connection.
Yeah. Can the floorboards with?
Let me look at my arsenal.
Pushing attack.
The blunderbuss. I'm going to use my great axe.
You're going to use what?
Great axe.
A great axe. Okay, maybe an attack on the floor. I take it it's in between the two machines.
That's all 20, so 25. So like it's kind of like nearer to the tatty machine, but yeah, like between the machines.
What if he slaps his hands off?
Nah, it's like way off to the side.
Yeah, it's off to the side. So hefting the great axe back over his shoulder, Hanash, the great big half-orc, swings the great axe round, slams it into the floorboards. There's an explosion of splinters and a pooching as there's a brass pipe running between the two machines underneath the floorboards.
I found something. I don't know what we can do with it because we can't break that brass thing, so I don't know what we can do with this one.
Can I, where my hands are trapped, is it like my hands are inside the machine and it's like clamped around my wrists? So
yeah, you can move your hands around on the inside, yeah, but you can't take them out, yeah.
Can I, given that my hands have been in there for an awful long time now, can I use any kind of sleight of hand, not even hand-eye coordination, just hand coordination to see if I can figure out where the levers are inside and see if I can get them to stop moving without like crushing my hands inside.
Yeah. As you do this, you take another 1 point of damage as just as you move your hands, you start feeling something crushing and slicing at the front of your fingers. Can you make me an investigation check, but with disadvantage, as you can now barely feel the fronts of your four fingers? Your thumbs seem to be okay.
I rolled 2 natural 20s in a row.
It's so funny, like all the time we could have just like pressed the lever. I believe that was empathy.
Yeah.
Once the shock wears off, you start thinking, wait a minute, I could be the master of my own destiny here. With a little bit of movement you've got left, you start moving around, and as you can almost feel the stumps on the front of your fingers as they're greasy and slick with blood and gore. As you move your hands around, the pain shooting up through your wrists, the absolute agony that you're in as your hands are basically being destroyed. As you feel around, you feel junk and spare machinery on the inside. You can feel the grinding getting closer and closer, the pain shooting up through your wrists, the ickiness and like squelch of the gore and ichor as your hands for something different. As you feel a clasp to one side, you try and get your fingers into it. At first, you feel you struggle with the wetness of your fingers to try and get to it. As you feel another blast of pain shooting up your fingers, you take another 4 points of damage. Just as you take the 4 points of damage, your ring finger on your left hand wraps around the cord and pulls it, the wearing mechanism coming to a stop, and the clasps, the barrier that came down of your hands rising up. As you pull your hands out, looking down at the destroyed front of your hands, you're missing the top like inch across all your fingers, just a bloody tattered mess. As you look inside, you see the crushing machinery with bits of gore and viscera of yourself as it moves back to reveal ends that you were looking at still behind.
I'm gonna say, I'm a monster! And then I'm gonna go, hey, Belsiar, you wanna come over here and get something?
I feel bad for Tassie, because an inch is a lot. That's like 2 inches.
You fucker.
And I go with my hand to grab the lens, and I don't know why we need a lens. Because
pulling out your mage hand, swinging across the room, it shoots inside, grasps onto the lens and pulls it out, and you see a lens the size of a small dinner plate made of cut and polished glass, which is now spackled with chewed up finger and bone.
Give it away.
You actually wipe down the lens as Tatty looks over, watching the ends of his own chewed up fingers being smeared off in front of a precision lens.
My next
original plan is if it's brass, then fire heats up brass, makes it expand. But then I didn't know if that would also kill Sassy. So it's all on fire.
So I see Belsiar holding the lens, and I say I kind of I don't even point to it. I just kind of like gesture to it because I'm not over this situation yet. And then I say you might want to try that in the telescope.
I resist the urge to throw the lens up in the air and try and catch it. So that can only end badly.
You throw the lens up in the air and try and catch it.
He said he resists the urge.
Oh, right. Jesus Christ, there's toying with. Two things happen at this point. First of all, Lady comes up looking rather sheepish and starts licking at the bloody stumps of Patty's hand. Not out of hunger, but out of more like remorse and sadness. The second thing, as you look down, you feel the cold metal press of a shovel against the stumps of your fingers. As Aristobulus is like, I don't know how this works, but it is magic, so it's worth a try. Cadabra.
That's not going to work now.
I was really hoping he was just going to get like weird things like with fingers.
Plants.
Yeah.
You feel the hot, sweaty hands. Aristobulus's hands are always hot and sweaty. As he reaches down and goes to use mending on you.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
He reaches out and mumbles the words for mending, and he's like, hold on, I'm new to this. As you feel your bones start like cracking and trying to mend, as it doesn't particularly do anything. He's like, I'm not entirely sure how this works, to be honest. And this is cure wounds on you, which he burns a first level cure wounds, which gives you back 9 points of health. But it doesn't regrow your fingers.
But no,
merely
fingers.
Nice.
You feel the stumps on the end of your fingers cauterize as the bleeding stops, and where you were draining blood down the face of your wolf, you are no longer draining blood, but you are still missing the tips of all of your fingers. You still got your thumbs, so don't worry.
Great. I
was imagining like the Harry Potter thing where they get to like mend his like bones and it's like goes all floppy.
Right, what are you guys doing?
Belsiar, you've got the lens. I was going to say, do you want to check out the telescope?
What? As the resident lens expert, I want to install it into the telescope.
Sorry, what did you say, Belsiar? You want to put the lens in the telescope?
Yeah.
Okay. Climbing onto the parapet at the edge of that wall where the telescope is going, you look at the end, you look at the housing on it, you can see in the construction of a telescope, you're a man of academia, you've looked through a telescope before, you know it needs a couple of lenses. This is the far lens, which I do not know anything about telescopes. I'm going to call it the focal lens. That's probably complete bollocks, but we're going to call it that just because we can do whatever we want because we are gods amongst men in this narrative. So you notice that the far lens is missing and you go to insert the lens. Can you make me a performance check as you attempt to insert?
I like the idea that Belsiar doesn't really know anything about anything, but he does know how to look like he knows something, and using a telescope as a sorcerer or a wizard is very important, so he can look like he knows what he's doing. Performance, that's 12 plus 2, 14.
14. As you go to put the lens in, you're so like stressed out and just totally freaked out from watching your friend have his fingers blown off that the lens slips out of your hand and it just dances for a moment, and you do that kind of like flutter thing as you just grab the lens on the edge of the parapet as it was about to plummet over the edge. You look at it, you rub it off on your wizard sleeve. Don't quote me on that. And you insert the lens in place. You hear a reassuring clunk-click as the lens.
I guess the only thing to do now is look through the telescope.
You want to look through the telescope?
Yeah.
Okay. As you look through the telescope, can you make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
13 plus 7 plus 4, 17.
17. So using wisdom, you just line your eye up, look through the telescope, realize that it's broad daylight and the telescope is pointing at the sun as you stare at it. Snatching your eye away just in time, you only take 6 points of damage. As you feel the retina sizzle. As everyone looks over, you can see a wisp of smoke coming out of the eye socket. As you realize, staring through a telescope at the sun during broad daylight is a terrible idea.
Do you say there was another lens missing as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
What would have been the maximum damage? Say he rolled a 2 or something.
Maybe I'll tell you that one day after this adventure.
Make it a death saving throw.
As you looked over, there's just a smoking hole in the back of the skull.
Shoots through his forehead.
Okay.
What's Maud doing?
Maud's very entertained by the fact that he's almost blinded himself in one eye. She takes the telescope lens out again so that nobody else gets the compulsion to go and blind themselves because they all look a bit remedial. So she takes the lens out, puts it in a little bag that she's got, that she's kind of fashioned from the squirrel.
That's so sexist and stereotype. You've got a little handbag.
No, I've got a utility belt made out of dead squirrel.
I don't think there's a sexist stereotype that says all women kill squirrels and make their own utility belts / backpacks.
It's got where its little teeth are. That's the class. So its little teeth attached to its little tail. The lens goes in my squirrel bag for safekeeping.
Okay, the lens goes in your squirrel bag, but you have established at least, Belsiar, even though you are squinting out of one eye, you're literally like, one eye is a little bit lazy. It's kind of okay. And you've established that the telescope now works.
I kind of want to look down the telescope again. Now it doesn't have a focal lens, but I want to be careful. I want to quickly look in because I'm thinking maybe the orb's in there, and maybe that's what's powering the telescope. Because I'm thinking, where is the orb going to be in this place? So I'd like to quickly look in, make sure it's safe to look in, and then
can we move the telescope ourselves? Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe just move it out of the sun.
As Tattle goes over to it, he notices it was pointing at the sun. He moves it, and you see he's still, although he's not bleeding, he's still got blood everywhere. He leaves 2 bloody smears across the telescope. He moves it, and you hear it go, and so you see it's on a pivot.
Yeah.
Or a pivot or something. As it moves, Hanash, you stick your eye over the near reticle, looking up the telescope. It's blurry as fuck, and it's the midday. You're staring at clouds. You can't see anything. To the best of knowledge, you can't see anything in there that would necessitate being an orb.
The telescope and the kind of pretty thing that's on is that on the floor? Or is that elevated and there's something under it?
Yeah. I'm surprised no one's actually fucking asked about this yet. The thing on the floor is an astrological map on cogs. and you can see it's currently calibrated with various planets and star systems aligned in a certain combination. And there is around the edge, almost like a clock face, but not in any kind of, traditional minutes, there are various reticles, and you see a red marker that's currently pointing to a certain constellation.
And this is like on the floor, like this isn't elevated at all. Yeah.
No, it's like, it's got a little lip on it. It's probably like the whole thing 6 inches off the floor and a big kind of mechanical dais.
I'm gonna ask Anash. I'm not even gonna ask him to help me because at that point it's like 1.1 people. I'm gonna ask him to push the telescope round until it hits that red marker.
Okay. So as you both push, everyone gets behind it. Theolian puts his weight into it. You hear the telescope going clunk, 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 and you see the inner arrow, the like marker going ding, 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 as it stops on the red line. As the telescope is now pointing randomly, as far as you're concerned, up at the cloudy sky. Yep.
Ooh, it's just like a Indiana Jones thing when the sun like comes in and then they like shine the light.
Let's give it a fucking go. I'm gonna walk over to Maud and I'm gonna hold my hands out like a small orphan child and I'm gonna say, can I please have the lens, please?
I open my squirrel bag and it makes a hissing noise for some reason. Maybe it's still alive. And I take out the lens and I hand it to Tatty, but tell him to be really careful. I put it in Tatty's stubby little hands and I tell him to be really careful because he's already quite disabled. And he doesn't.
Can you make a sleight of hand check then, Tatty? As you're still feeling, although you're not bleeding to death, you are now dexterously missing the tips of your fingers. You may never play the guitar or masturbate again.
I mean, both of those require the same amount of intricate skill.
Strumming, probably. Not sure.
22.
Yeah. It's like you've always missed the first couple of inches of your fingers. You're learning to recover. It might be
what's
sick.
between friends?
Yeah, what's a couple of inches between friends? Also, possibly the name of this episode. If it's not the woke wolf, it's what's a couple of inches between friends. You take the lens gingerly in your stumpy fingers, and you waddle over and climb up onto the parapet very gingerly, reach up, and realise you're far too short to reach the top of the telescope.
I mean, I've got this slipper. I was going to use those to climb up.
You're going to walk up the shaft of the telescope with spider slippers.
Well, only up until the point when I can unceremoniously set myself down on top of it and put the lens in.
All right. As you walk up the shaft of the telescope with your slippers, everyone looks over. Even Aristobulus looks up from playing with his shovel to look at you as you walk, grasping the lens with both hands like that, as you straddle the shaft of the telescope. You lean forward and with a clunk click, drop it in place. And as everyone looks back, you realise this is a precision instrument. And the arrow, the marker on the astrolabe style thing on the ground is no longer pointing at the red marker, as Tatty has slightly misaligned it now, ever so slightly.
Come on, guys. Let's give it a little push.
Everyone hoiks it along, and you hear a click as it moves back to the red marker. Tatty, can you make me a... Can you make me a dexterity saving throw?
I mean, I would have jumped off before they started moving it.
I just said everyone.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You're wearing the spider boots, so make it a dexterity saving throw with advantage, and there's every chance your boots will catch you. Fine.
24.
Oh, fuck you. That would have been so much fun. As you slide round the shaft, your feet go clunk, clunk, and magnets on, and you just see yourself like standing upside down with your little stumpy fingers.
Like a flagpole.
Yeah.
For the sake of expedience, we'll just say that you make your way back down the shaft of I'm using the word shaft quite a lot today, of the telescope, narrowly making your way down. Everyone realigns it, now in place. As you all look up and see it's just after midday, and the stars will not be coming out for quite a while.
Can I start reading some of the books, like on the bookcases, or can I try and read them? I don't know what language they're going to be in. See if there's anything that talks about
languages.
Books.
What languages do you understand?
Orc and Common, I think.
You're a learned man, aren't you? I speak English. Shit English.
Go to, there's a thing for proficiencies in languages.
Are we on the top floor?
Yeah, Common and Orc.
Common and Orc. As you look at them, they're in squiggles, and you're scratching your head as Theolian walks up next to you and says, "Yes, it doesn't surprise me that the fighter doesn't read or write very well. It's in Elven. Those are astrological maps. That is a book full of star charts."
I speak Elven.
I say to Theolian, as he's being helpful as always, I say, "You want to read it?"
I mean, what do you want to know? As he leaves through it, some of the pages falling out as he grabs them and tries to keep them in a rudimentary order. It's a list of star constellations. They have different names. They're named after various animals.
What this one? I point to the I can't remember what telescope. I'm like, what this one said to? Me no, me stupid. And then past him.
Well, let me go through the books as he sits for a while. He says the stars aren't going to be coming out anyway for a few hours, nearly 10 or 12 hours probably. So let me look through these and see if I can find any kind of patterns between what's in these books and what is on this machine. As you see him, what's he going to be using? Insight. He's going to do an insight check. What are you guys choosing to do in the remaining time as the night sky comes out?
Oh, I have things for people.
Have you got tips? Are you going to offer anyone a hand? Can I make more related jokes?
I have magical items to give to people. So I'm going to give Hanash the boots of striding and springing, which require attunement. So I think you might have to wait until the next long rest. Is it? Yeah. And I'm going to give Belsiar the feather token that I got. I can send you the item send you the item name from D&D Beyond. You've also got the blunderbuss, haven't you?
I have the blunderbuss.
And then I'm going to spend the remainder of the time I'm assuming that I don't have any use in trying to read any of these books, so I'm going to spend the remainder of the time just sat on the floor, just fussing lady and calling a combination of Barbara or Babs, just to see whatever it is.
Particularly happy at this. As you pick up one of the volumes and you go to leaf your way through, you suddenly realize you can't get purchase on any of the pages with the stumps of your fingers. You realize that reading may no longer be a pastime for you. along with pointing and clicking your fingers. That happened. What?
Can he not use his little toes?
Was it my left foot? Jesus Christ, that's grim. Right, yes. As the tiny little Father Christmas starts distributing presents with his teeny tiny little mashed up hands, everybody receives presents. As you see Theolian sitting in the corner, leafing through books. You see the sun starting to go down across the sky. Lady snuggling up behind Tatty. Aristobulus sitting there whispering to his shovel. You can just hear him going, "Come on, honey, just reveal yourself to me." Belziar, what are you up to?
Is this is the top floor of the observatory?
Yeah.
All I want to do is just go to the windows and pretend I'm fending off like a zombie invasion with like, and I just make sparks come out like pew 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 pew. What I want to do.
As you look over, you just see Theolian shaking his head at you. Literally.
Pew 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 pew.
Oh, for fuck's sake. We really are in trouble, aren't we?
Good training.
Theolian walks over to Maud, sits down opposite her, and he says, "What did those wolves say again?" Not wolves, they were dogs, weren't they? What did those dogs say about the person who was shooting at us earlier?
I tell Theolian that the wolf said that he had left, but he smelt really funny. And they didn't define what funny smelt like. But they had gone. And that was the grand total of the conversation. And they offered me a threesome. And I declined.
Well, lucky you. I remember the last time I had a threesome with a rabbit dog. And he looks very to himself. So, we've established there was a person.
A man.
A man, not many people. Well, whoever they are, they're gone, and whoever they are, they deal with poisoned arrows.
Maud looks exhausted and tries to curl up next to Lady.
Make me an animal handling check. An 8. As you go to curl up next to Lady, you just hear and claws as Lady goes to swat you away, as you hear Barbara say, "I don't trust you, you fucking shapeshifter. Get away from me. We are not friends." As she skitters off, as Tatty, you feel your wolf go a little bit tense behind you as you're being spooned by it. Theolian walks over to Hanash, who's sticking his head through the trap door, looking down to the floor below. Looks at him and says, "What the fuck are you doing? Listen, one fighter to another fighter. Whatever is stalking us will probably come back at night. That would be the perfect time to get ambushed."
We better lay some traps then, I guess.
Yes. I think me and you should probably stay up on guard duty while the others rest. I don't want us getting ambushed by whoever the fuck is firing poisoned arrows at us.
Sounds good, brother.
When Lady tenses up and kind of scarpers away from Maud, Tatty's gonna get up and go stand by the window, one of the windows for a little bit, and just kind of like absent-mindedly look outside a little bit while thinking about the map that he looked at earlier.
So As you do that, you see that the sun's starting to get real low in the sky, and it's starting to go dark out. As you passively look out into the shrubland and tree line in the distance, you start paranoidly sweeping the tree line for movement. You can hear the skittering of the wild dogs down below as your eyes, the tiredness, both from the exhaustion of having your fingertip blown off and the tiredness of the day, and the fact that you were poisoned at one point today, you start paranoidly seeing shapes move in the tree line as, you see what you want to see. But the longer you look, the less you assure yourself there's nothing that you can see out there. Down below, in the entranceway, Hanash and Theolian both stand there, weapons ready, guarding the door. As the sun goes down, the darkness arrives, washing over the land, and the coldness starts biting at the night air. And that is where we're going to leave today's episode.
Woo!
Do we have to do some sort of wrap-up at the end of this to say this has been Adventurers Anonymous? Amateur adventurers, professional drunkards.
So I guess in the end, when you've got all your friends around and you've got your hands in a trap, just push the lever yourself.
Yeah, when you've got all your friends to help you and your hands are stuck in the trap, really, you have to do all the work yourself.
I mean, really, what's a few inches between friends?